Hello, my name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and you're listening to Destroyer 40. Our special guest tonight is drum extraordinaire Raleigh Devore, and some of you may know Raleigh from his many tribute bands such as Sin City Kiss, Coed Kiss, and Priss. How you doing tonight, Raleigh?
Excellent, Jason. How you doing? Good hearing your voice again.
Yeah, now I know you're obviously a huge Kiss fan, and I was curious the fact that you playing so many Kiss tribute bands. Are you comfortable at the point of your ability to play, all the Kiss tunes? Obviously, I would think.
Well, I'm sort of Catman for hire.
Okay. Now, right off the bat, I saw that you took part in the. I guess it was Tuesday, December 6th, this last week. You took part in the Kiss Jam Night down there at the Whiskey. I was curious, how did you get involved in that event?
That was such a fun night. That initially started with Priss, which is the all-female Kiss tribute band that I sit in with quite a bit, being asked to play the show.
Wow.
And they had a lot of musicians on the bill, so everybody got a couple songs. So I went there planning to play just a couple songs with Priss towards the end of the night. And I arrived early, and Bruce Kulick added to the bill, which was exciting. And strolled up to the dressing room, and Bruce was there and said, "Hey, man, how's it going?" I introduced myself, and was in full Catman regalia, so it's sort of, conspicuous.
I've seen a great photo of you guys up on your Facebook page, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I took a selfie of us, and then my friend Mandy Dominguez got a great shot of us before the show. But anyway, so he was up there, and a lot of the musicians that got together hadn't necessarily all played together before, and he had 3 different background singers that were going to be on stage with him handling the backgrounds.
Uh-huh.
And they were rehearsing vocally the interlude to God Gave Rock and Roll to You. And
wow.
for those of you not familiar with the song sort of stops, the music ends, and the members of Kiss go into this a cappella, 3 or 4 part harmony thing. Yes, sir, you've heard it, right, Jim?
Oh, yeah, off Bill and Ted's and Revenge.
Right.
Yeah.
So the singers were going through that bit, and they were learning it because they weren't quite as familiar with it as obviously Bruce and is most familiar of all, and then I was familiar with it. So as they were going through it, I was sort of singing the backgrounds too, sort of standing close by, and Bruce kind of looked over to me and goes, "Do you know this stuff?" I said, "Oh yeah." And he goes, he said something like, paraphrase the way he said it. "Hey man, your voice sounds really good." I'm like, "Thanks, dude." That would have been enough for the whole night for me.
Yeah.
That made my night right there. But then one of the lady background singers said, "Hey, would you mind helping us?" And then Bruce said, "Hey, would you mind? Yeah, if you know this stuff, would you mind teaching them a little bit, some of the stuff they don't know?" And I'm like, "Sure." So we went through God Gave Rock and Roll to You. They gave me sort of a list of the other songs that they were doing, and I kind of knew the harmony parts because of all the Kiss bands I play in.
Yeah.
And we started working out the parts, and then Bruce walked over to me and said, "Would you mind just singing the set with us?" And I'm like, "Dude, I would be honored." Total sweet guy, man, asked me to sing. So I initially went there, just to play the couple songs with Priss, and ended up spending most of the night off stage with Bruce Kulick and different rockin' musicians, and then did Priss too. So it was an amazing, magical night.
Well, I bet you were tired at the end of the night, but that must have been, as a Kiss fan, that's got to be your ultimate, dream to be up there with Bruce, a guy who actually was a Kiss member, being up there playing those tunes.
It was quite an honor, and I got a real nice email. Get this, I got a real nice email from him the next day thanking me for helping him with the set.
Now, Raleigh, I'm sure there are other guys besides you that were made up, but I imagine when you're on stage, playing, throughout the night with Bruce and the other musicians, that you were probably one of a few people who were made up on stage. What was that like?
Well, it was, it was me and this other guy who actually I met the other night too, Paulie C. And he was dressed up as Paul Stanley.
Wow.
And he did Creatures of the Night, some other songs, and he's done a Kiss tribute thing in the past, and he was absolutely amazing. But yeah, I felt like I was definitely standing out a little bit because when Paulie Z went on stage, it was just me, the lone, Kiss club up there. But it was cool. I felt right at home because we all knew the material and all knew the songs. So I didn't really feel out of place. Like I probably looked at it.
I mean that's such a cool story. Now, I was curious the fact that you also performed with Priss that night. Did you guys know ahead of time the songs that you're going to be performing before you guys went on?
Yeah, they had it organized pretty well. They had it mapped out as far as who was going to be on stage and what songs they were doing.
Wow.
So we ended up we played close to the end of the night. We did Come On and Love Me, and then Deuce with the whole choreography thing that Kiss does at the end. And we figured that'd be a good way to close our little 2-song set. So that's what we went with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you an interesting story. This other guy that performed there the other night, Joe Retta, he sings with the Dio Disciples and Heaven and Earth, and I think The Sweet. And I'm in the process of scheduling an interview with him, but he was telling me, oh yeah, I performed a Kiss night the other night. He says, I'm not really a huge, this is an interesting thing. He's like, I'm not a huge Kiss fan, but I got to sing on God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which I know is originally an Argent song, and he says, I also sung on Hard Luck Woman, which I know Paul Stanley originally wrote for, Rod Stewart. So I was kind of interested to hear, but, they had a guy down there who wasn't necessarily a huge Kiss fan, but he was able to, pull the material off. That's a pretty cool story, I thought.
Yeah, I met him, and, I was singing, that was one of the other songs I was singing backup on was Hard Luck Woman, along with him, and then God Gave Rock and Roll mentioned
Yeah, now getting into our main topic tonight, Destroyer. 2016 marks obviously the 40th anniversary of Destroyer. I was curious, Raleigh, what are your memories on that album? I mean, when you first heard that album, were you a fan? Because I know a lot of people back in the day when it first came out, there's a lot of people felt it was a little too commercial, a little more polished than the Kiss albums that had been out at that time.
That album blew my mind when I was pretty young when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid seeing this before Destroyer, seeing the first 3 Kiss studio albums, and just you couldn't miss them because they were so striking with the makeup and so on and so forth. But I hadn't heard the band until Rock and Roll All Night from Alive. When Alive came out, Rock and Roll All Night was getting some airplay, and I heard it on the radio, and was just like, wow. So I somehow got my mother to get me a copy of Alive, and it was and it was right around the time I started playing drums too. So between listening to The Who and listening to Keith Moon and listening to Peter Criss on Alive, that was pretty much how I started playing drums. Is just trying to, I played mostly by ear and just listening to that stuff. So I was a Kiss fan before Destroyer came out, and then when Destroyer came out, it was such a mind-blowing album to listen to because, I was an Alice Cooper fan, too, and Bob Ezrin, who produced Alice Cooper stuff and produced Destroyer. He did a lot of theater of the mind kind of stuff that may have been influenced from, maybe old radio programs.
Yeah.
When you put on Destroyer, the song doesn't start. You hear this whole soundscape of the guy, at the kitchen table, and he gets into his car, and he starts his car, and so when I remember first putting the album on and just listening to it all the way through, and it was just totally, that's all I listened to for months.
Yeah, and an interesting thing about, Destroyer is, like you said, the fact that if you go back and you listen to those first 3 Kiss albums, they're very, really raw, a lot more raw, not as polished as, say, Destroyer, but with the thing with Destroyer, like you're saying, Bob Ezrin's influence was really strong in that album. I mean, he's listed as a songwriter in almost every song, and he did those great Alice Cooper albums, before that. So I mean, he was really a strong presence on that album.
Right. And what was weird was at the time it came out, it was kind of received by Kiss fans, I think, in kind of a mixed way, because at the time, if you go. Even Kiss kind of sort of pulled away from it a little bit, and when they did their next album, Rock and Roll Over, it was very back to basics, very sort of dry, and Eddie Kramer, I think, came back, and who had produced their first demos and did that album, stuff like that. But as time has gone on, and they've looked at it in hindsight, I think the band members of Kiss and Kiss fans, it's probably, I'm sure it's number 1 on a lot of people's Kiss albums.
Oh yeah, I agree, and I'll say this for in regards to that, when you think of Kiss, that's oftentimes a go-to album. I mean, I'm a fan of everything they've done, but that's one album really stands out for a lot of reasons. But it's kind of like they had a little bit of something on there for everybody. And I think with Destroyer, what really makes that album stand out to me when I put it on is you can really hear that they really stepped up the songwriting a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I've heard Paul Stanley interviewed it, and he rather humorously said, "Well, we were going to try to write songs that weren't about screwing and partying, even though because that's basically all we do at the time." But yeah, the songwriting was like different subject matter, and it just it was a real step up. And then, after the album came out, I remember watching them on the Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Oh yes, yes.
and it made such a huge impression on me because I'd seen the band in Circus Magazine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so forth, but I'd never seen them, in a live performance. And they did Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, and Beth on that show. And wow! And then my mind was completely blown. And I remember after that at Halloween, I all the neighbor kids. I brought them over and I did all the Kiss makeup. For all the kids. Like I was Jean. I did some girl. I made her Ace. It was like a whole thing going on at the time. So
wow.
Yeah, it definitely warped me for life in a good way. And at my age here, I'm still influenced by Kiss, and I'm doing the Catman thing, and so that part of me hasn't really aged or grown up.
Yeah.
I'm still that kid, putting on the Kiss makeup, and now I'm just playing it to my fellow Kiss fans.
That's what I love about talking to a guy like you, Raleigh. I mean, like a lot of us, you were a Kiss fan, and you still are to this day, and it's influenced you so much to the point of what you're doing now. Even more than just the fact that you're playing drums. I mean, you're playing these Kiss tunes, that you grew up loving, and you got several tribute bands you're playing in, and you've got just such a huge talent in your own right for the fact that, for example, you play in a Who tribute, you play in an Elton John tribute, you also recently started up a great Cheap Trick tribute. And the great thing about the, for example, the Cheap Trick tribute is, while most people know that, you're a great, phenomenal drummer, you're up, you're the frontman in that band. You're doing Robin Zander. You're singing lead. You're playing guitar. And it's just another aspect of what you do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, the Cheap Trick thing I'm really excited about. It's something new, something a little different for me. Although I've played guitar and singing my own original stuff
in
the past, but never done Cheap Trick stuff before. And I've been wanting to do a Cheap Trick tribute band. In fact, I did drum as not Bunny Carlos, but Raleigh Carlos.
Wow.
In one band called A Cheaper Trick with my friend Tommy Rojo and Donnie Sachs and Jimmy St. James from Black and Blue, who sings the band, and their drummer Tony Snow couldn't make a show one time that did out in Arizona. This is close to a couple years ago, and how that all happened was Jamie St. James, the singer, couldn't make the one rehearsal we did for the show. So I just grabbed the mic and said, "Hey, let me see if I can maybe sing this stuff." And I was just kind of singing along, and that was kind of the seed that sort of got planted in my head. Well, maybe if I do a Cheap Trick thing, maybe I could tackle maybe doing the Robin part.
Yeah.
So we've only had 2 shows. We played out in El Paso, Texas, and recently at House Booth San Diego, and we recorded a song, but we're recording a couple more. We're going to do a proper music video pretty soon. But I'm really, really excited about it.
And I really urge people to just... I was going to say, I really urge people to go onto Facebook and check it out because, just looking at the photos, you guys are really authentic. I mean, you look like, you look your parts, and you look like Cheap Trick from that time,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're trying to, I've been getting all the same guitars that Robin plays and the costumes. And the only thing that's on the band's called Cheap Tricked, for anybody listening that wants to look this up on Facebook or SoundCloud. The thing that's kind of unique about the band is Jennifer Perot, who plays with me in Priss, who plays Lace Fraley. We have her playing Rick Nielsen, except she's been dubbed Chick Nielsen.
I love that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and she's just amazing guitar player, huge Cheap Trick fan like me, and she's kind of like the sister I never had, and So when I was thinking about doing a Cheap Trick thing, she seemed like the obvious person to do it. And yeah, and both times we played, of course, we're a brand new band, we did 2 shows. The crowds have absolutely loved her. So
Wow.
I think we did the right move with that one.
I think so. And you know, the cool thing, the interesting thing is, you know, Kiss and Cheap Trick world kind of colliding. I mean, back in the, you know, early 70s when we're talking, Kiss took Cheap Trick originally out on one of their first tours. And that's part of the reason those guys, you know, when they do the song Surrender, they throw Kiss albums into the crowd. And interestingly enough, you know, very much like Cheap Trick with the song I Want You to Want Me, anybody that's heard the original version of that song, it really sounds like a kind of like a swampy country song. Sounds like nothing like the Budokan, you know, the track on Budokan. It really gave it a new life, very much like what they Kiss did with Rock and Roll All Night when they when they put out the original version versus the version on Alive. Both times, you know, they put out a live version, these bands, and the track just became something new.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, and I've heard Roger Daltrey mention this about The Who. Of course, Kiss has mentioned this about their first 3 albums, and the example of I Want You to Want Me is a good example, too. Sometimes it's difficult to capture the energy of the band in a recording studio, and sometimes it takes that energy of playing it live into a giant music hall and capturing that, and it just helps the songs come you know, get properly translated onto tape. Perfect. I Want You to Want Me. Yeah, the original version is kind of like a piano rag, and then I think they captured it on live at Budokan. And interestingly enough, it's another event that worked me for life.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Kiss was on the Love Gun tour when they were recording the Alive 2 album.
Wow.
It was that night. Cheap Trick opened for them, and I had no idea who Cheap Trick was.
And
and again, that event when I was a real young kid obviously stuck with me, and yeah, what a great and in fact, with the one and only Kiss cruise I went on a few years ago, the one reason I had to go besides playing the pre-party out in Miami for it was Cheap Trick was playing on the cruise before it, you know, took off from the port of Miami. So
wow.
Kind of nice to be in that touch, you know, in touch with that part of your childhood, you know.
Oh yeah, that's totally a cool story. And now let me ask you, getting back to Destroyer, you know, with the exception of maybe Peter Criss, who we're talking about a little bit about tonight, the only other drummer back then, you know, who really was a lead singer or anything was maybe Roger Taylor from Queen or even Don Henley from the Eagles. So as a drummer and a fan of Peter Criss, what was it like, you know, when you heard this album Destroyer and you heard the track Beth, and you know, I'm sure you've seen him performing in concert when we went to see the band. What was that like to see the drummer get kind of his little moment in the show?
Well, Peter Criss, he's, you know, some people don't care for his drumming too much, but I think he's superb, and he has this sort of jazzy style that he throws in that's very, very unique and just clicked in a way with Kiss. It was an integral part of their sound, and not only that, but he, I think, is one of the great rock and roll singers around. That sort of raspy kind of Rod Stewart, but more of a harder edge than Ron has.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about buying Kiss albums, and I know they sort of modeled the band after the Beatles a little bit, was putting on an album and hearing everybody sing. Of course, Ace didn't start singing until later on, but it was cool putting on, you know, Dress to Kill or the first album or any of them and hearing Peter sing. It was a little strange putting on Destroyer and hearing that, you know, because Kiss had never really done a proper ballad with, you know, strings and everything that before, but I think the proof is in the pudding in the fact that it was their first sort of hit song with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story about that. I've in doing research for this, I've read interviews where the guys have said, like, for example, Gene and Paul were really against recording that track. It was really Bob Ezrin and the manager, Bill Coyne, that pushed for them to record it. And Ezrin came in and kind of tweaked Peter's lyrics, but you know, so much to the point that Paul and Gene were laughing and making faces as Peter was recording his vocals. They had to kick these guys out of the studio because they're like, oh, Kiss doesn't do ballads. And kind of like what you're saying, initially when the album was released, the single was Detroit Rock City, but outside of Detroit, nobody was playing that song. So a DJ got the idea, I'm going to play the song Beth, and that just magically took off, Talk about the Kiss Army speaking, that song just took on a life of its own.
Yep. Sometimes you have to do something different to stand out. And as we're talking here, I just thought of another interesting story to share.
Uh-huh.
Right around during the time of the Kiss reunion tour, and I had just flown back from vacation I was on, and I was at LAX standing at the, where you can pick up your baggage and the baggage carousel.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife at the time tapped me on the shoulder and pointed, to the guy standing next to me. Dude, standing right next to me, waiting for his baggage, Peter Priss.
Wow, amazing.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, I have to say something, right? You know, and I don't want to come off as this crazy excited person that I am right at the moment. And so I actually had a ticket to go see Kiss the next day at Irvine Meadows. So I just moved up to him and said, hey brother, I'm going to see your band tomorrow night. And he goes, oh man, how you doing? I said, hey Peter, my name's Raleigh, I'm a drummer, blah, blah, blah. And I basically told him a lot of the story I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to live, He was so cool. We sat and chatted for about 20 minutes. And that's the one and only time I've met him, but it was super, super cool. He signed an autograph for me and so on. And, so it was one of those Twilight Zone bucket list moments that I couldn't have planned. And what an odds that he would be standing right next to me at LAX.
That's amazing. And I haven't seen it on the internet. I don't have it in front of me, but he's going to be making some appearance in January at some LA Kiss Expo. So I know he'll be making an appearance there. That'd be kind of a cool thing to check out.
I'm planning to go. I'm definitely planning to go. Yeah.
And I got to ask, going back earlier, you were saying before you even heard Kiss, like a lot of people, you've seen a picture of what they look like. So how much was the image and the look, an influence on you being a Kiss fan versus the music? Or would you say it was a combination of the two?
The makeup is the first thing that, of course, got my attention to it. But you know what? If the band sucked or they didn't have great, catchy songs, I wouldn't be a fan at all.
Yeah, I hear you.
It wasn't because I never bought their albums, just seeing them. It took me hearing Rock and Roll Night on the radio and then going, wow. And then, okay, Mom, I'll work, I'll get allowance, whatever. Go buy Kiss Alive.
Yeah, I guess the point I'm making is a lot of people have told me, and I had a similar experience when first time I saw Kiss, is when you're a little kid and you're not quite a teenager and you see a picture of these guys for the first time, it's almost like you're looking at superheroes or what is this? This is a cool looking cartoon. And then when you find out, no, wait a minute, it's a band and these guys play music, and then you put the record on, oh wow, how cool is that?
Oh yeah. And what's funny too? I mean, the first time I saw Kiss, the night Cheap Trick, open from at the Forum, I was a little bit scared of Gene Simmons coming on stage. Because I knew I would be fine, but he was so, such a dynamic, such an amazing performer and songwriter. And he's just, such a unique human being. But it's like a little bit. It was like, whoa, something going to happen. Because he was kind of terrifying in a way. But I met him several times, and he's always been just a total sweetheart person. So. Yeah,
and I got to say, going all the way back to the debut album, like you were saying, one thing I always dug about Kiss, especially going back in the early days, is it was not just one guy doing all the singing, like you were saying, Raleigh. All these guys sang. I mean, going back all the way to the debut album, even you had Peter singing, background leads on Nothing to Lose, and lead vocals on Black Diamond, and so these guys all brought something to the table, more than just we got the drummer, we got the rhythm guitar player. They all had a huge talent, and I think when you put the four of them together, it just created for something magic.
Very much so, yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, they did model the band after the Beatles.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm sure you know this, but to anybody who's listening who doesn't, the first Kiss album, they even sort of the way they placed their faces and the way they're sitting was inspired by the Beatles album. So if you put both albums side by side, you see the same configuration of faces as on the Beatles album. You see it on the first Kiss album too. So
Yeah.
and it made their more interesting to listen to, and throwing a little bit of variety in there, and just the four made it a more interesting band.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're talking about this 40 years after the fact, but I love the fact that like they've said many times that like you put out those first three Kiss albums, which are very raw. They weren't quite as commercial, as polished as what Destroyer became, but and a lot of those albums didn't really sell when they were originally released. But then when they put out Kiss Alive, people put that on, and even though we know that they went back and touched things up now, it still sounds like an in-your-face concert. Sounds like you were there. People put on Kiss Alive and they thought, wow, listen to this band live. There's something magic going on. And when people started going to the shows and they saw what a Kiss show was, oh wow, these guys deliver the ultimate rock show, And then Kiss started to take off after that.
Yeah, and there's still no band like them, nor will there ever be again. Seeing them live, and I guess what was great, they had all these great songs on the first three albums, but they couldn't quite. And don't get me wrong, I love the first three albums, but when they did Alive, it's like they were able to sort of re-record some of the best of those three albums and really give it the energy that was lacking on the first three studio albums, which was kind of cool,
Yeah.
And still that album you put it on and it's just like, it's just magic, absolutely magic,
Yeah, and people.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, people forget, back in the day, like when you first pick up Kiss Alive 1, that double album gatefold. There was nothing like that at the time. It was very new. Oh wow, a double album. And I think that's part of the thing today. People miss the experience of going to a record store and seeing all that stuff.
Yeah, it's very sad that part is sort of missing from our culture now. And I can't imagine not having Tower. Well, I can imagine now.
Now, yeah, but yeah.
Tower Records and opening the album. I think of Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Who's Tommy album, all those great double albums. Opening it up and seeing the artwork and the lyrics, and it was like a whole part of the experience of sitting there and checking it out while you put the vinyl on, and it's just, well, I guess there are, the vinyl is still around. There are still printing. What store was I? I was at Urban Outfitters the other day.
Okay.
And they still are putting it out,
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but it's definitely not as prominent as it was when we were younger. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. And getting back to Destroy, I don't know if you know this, Raleigh, but interestingly enough, the Song God of Thunder, which of course is sung by Gene Simmons, that's a tune that was originally written by Paul Stanley, and it was for producer Bob Ezrin, who told him, "Hey, Paul, I think we should have Gene sing this because it sounds more like a Gene song." And the interesting thing about that is that's kind of Gene Simmons' persona now. He's known as the God of Thunder. And if you got the Kiss box set, or you can even check it out on YouTube, they got the original demo of Paul doing the vocal on there. So that's a cool thing you could check out.
Yeah, I heard that. It was funny because I remember as a kid, I didn't look too closely at who wrote which song, and I assumed it was a Gene Simmons song. I remember this friend of mine saying, "Hey, Paul, that's a Paul Stanley song." And I was like, "Get out of here!"
Yeah.
And then I had to go look at the album. I'm like, "Oh shit, you're right." But and the Paul Stanley demo is interesting to listen to because if I remember correctly, the drums on it, I don't have the drum done, but it's almost kind of like an up-tempo, almost kind of disco drum beat thing going on with it,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob Ezrin really changed the arrangement, I'm sure, and slowed it down and made it sort of that swampy, kind of, growling masterpiece that it is on Destroyer with Gene singing it. And I remember them doing that song live and seeing them for the first time and not expecting, I didn't know Peter was going to do his big drum solo in the middle of God of Thunder at the time. And so that was wild, because, he started the drum solo and, of course, if anybody has seen the videos, you can look them up on YouTube now from the 77 Love Gun Tour. The drum riser rolled forward, his somehow make a drum riser for me to roll forward like the guy in Kiss does. So he was so cool. He built me this drum riser out of wood with wheels on it, and we put this banner around it so you couldn't see underneath it. And I had my friends underneath it, and they rolled me. I started the drum solo, and they rolled it to the front of the stage so I could be like Peter Criss. And at a certain point, they start to roll it back as I ended the drum solo. But so yeah, that was my bit of trying to recreate Kiss Alive at the Irvine High School talent show.
Wow, how cool is that? How cool is that?
Yeah.
And now I got to ask you, being a Peter Criss fan, going back to 1980, getting a little ahead of our time, from what we've been talking about, when you heard Peter Criss was leaving the band, what were your thoughts?
Well, it was kind of a disappointment, because I knew he was certainly going to be missed on the albums. Although, when the album Unmasked came out in 1980, there was a cartoon, sort of animated cover, and there were no songs featuring him singing on that album.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew something was up. And although I must say that Eric Carr, who came in after him, was just a fantastic drummer and really, really great. But certainly that piece of the puzzle was certainly missing. And then, and then Ace left, and then it kind of wasn't the same band. Although, you got to hand this to Paul Stanley G. They did soldier on, and of course, they ended up getting Vinnie Vincent.
Yeah.
And of course, Bruce Kulick, which was just amazing. And they had, success, without the makeup on with Lick It Up and Animalized. And I saw them several times with Bruce during the 80s. And so you got to give them kudos for keeping it going, although it was, and Gene Simmons even, said it at the time, right before they took the makeup off. He goes, I think if we take the makeup off, it would be a different band. And it was. Yeah. But still a great band, still Kiss.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love everything they've done. I mean, I like some of the stuff better, obviously, than some of it, but it's all Kiss to me. And, and you got to respect, like you said, they kept it going for 40 years. I mean, there's not a lot of bands, outside of The Who and the Rolling Stones, maybe, and a few others that have, lasted that long.
Right.
Yeah, and now I got it.
I'm amazed they're still going.
Yeah, and I got to ask you. Yeah, I got to ask you. Going back to when Peter Criss left the band, they kept it really under wraps at the time. Pretty much everybody at the time Unmasked and Dynasty came out. We were led to believe Peter Criss and everybody played on the albums. How surprised were you years later to learn it was actually Anton Fig that played on those albums?
That was a little surprising, although that was around the time I remember hearing Unmasked and even Dynasty and noticing there was definitely a different feel, particularly on I Was Made for Loving You. It just didn't quite, because Peter Criss has an unmistakable sound and feel. And so, when Dynasty came out, I was like, it sounds, I definitely noticed it sounded different. So when I heard that it was Anton Fig, who was a fantastic drummer, played on Ace Frehley's first solo album, too, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
Later was the drummer for
David Letterman's
show for years. I wasn't totally surprised when I heard that it was not Peter playing on that on those records.
Yeah, and when that stuff came out, there's a bit of controversy over it, but I'll tell you, I respect the guys for the fact that back in the day, they were trying to protect everybody. They wanted the Kiss fans to believe that everybody played on down. They wanted everybody to be under the impression that they all got along and were all, best buddies. I respect the fact at the time they didn't tell everybody, Peter was having a drug problem. They kind of just put it out there that, he left because he got married and he's having a baby.
Right. Yeah, which is the cool way, classy way to handle things,
Yeah.
I think that was probably the best way to handle that unfortunate situation. And it's, it would have been, and I got to say, Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer do a fantastic job, and I know they get a lot of grief, but I would still rather have some Kiss than no Kiss at all.
I'm with you. And let me ask you on that, Raleigh. Do you have a problem with Tommy and Eric, wearing Peter and Ace's makeup? I mean, how do you feel on that?
I know, I can totally understand where Peter and Ace may be coming from.
Yeah.
As a fan, I like having some representation of them up there if it can't be them.
Yeah.
So, as a fan, that's kind of where I'm coming from about it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the thing is, the reason I don't have a problem with it is, like you said, I'd rather have Kiss than no Kiss, and also then when you look at the fact that Eric and Vinny had their own makeup designs, but when you look at the fact that like Gene and Paul, they were smart enough that they trademarked all those designs for obvious reasons, but then you also stop and think about it for a minute. Doing something like that just goes to show you that those are the four iconic characters: the cat, the spaceman, the demon, the Star Child. When you think of Kiss, those are the faces that people think of, and it's kind of funny to stop and think for a minute that those iconic faces are almost more iconic than the guys that actually play the parts. If you know what I mean.
Very true, and interestingly too, there was when the original four got back together and did the reunion tour, and it started to sort of break apart. There was a time where Eric Singer came in to replace Peter, and he played with Ace.
Mm-hmm.
A short time later, there was a time where Peter came back, and then Ace was out, and Tommy Thayer was in.
Yeah, I remember.
Peter, Tommy Thayer.
That was around the time they put out that Sympathy album with Australia Sympathy.
Right, Alive 4. And that's when Peter was in the band. And so Peter and Ace have played with their, counterparts with the different bands.
Yeah, and the other reason I don't have a problem with it is for the simple fact they're not trying to lie to the fans and say that that's Ace and Peter up there. They've been real honest about what they're doing, so that's the main reason I don't have a problem with it.
I also did a show in Las Vegas with Sin City Kiss, great Kiss tribute band. My friends Louis and Steve, their band out there. We did a show at the Kiss Mini Golf for one of their anniversary. Anniversary they had out there and Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer were there.
Wow.
And that was quite a hoot to be able to play, in their presence. We didn't play together, but and I got to talk with both Tommy and Eric after the show, and totally sweet as can be, and we had a good conversation about not only Kiss but the Who, and because Kiss was incorporating part of the Who song "Won't Get Fooled Again," I believe right in the middle of "Lick It Up," and I was asking Tommy and Eric about that, and I asked them how did that all come about, and they mentioned something that I totally forgotten about, and that was back, I believe it was on the Asylum tour.
Yes.
Kiss was actually covering the Who's "Won't Get Fooled Again" in its entirety.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And I totally spaced about it until I think Eric Singer mentioned it to me. I'm like, oh yeah, and so it's kind of cool. I mean, the Who's like, probably my top three bands are the Who, Q-Trick, and Kiss.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool that Kiss are like, big Who fans like I am too, so
yeah.
Kind of share that in common with them too.
Yeah, and I even think if you had a chance to check out the Kiss Rocks Vegas DVD, because if during the performance of "Lick It Up" on that, they do a little guitar thing. It almost sounds like "Won't Get Fooled Again," and it's a real cool.
Yeah, I asked Eric to tell me about that. Yeah, it is "Won't Get Fooled Again."
Wow.
I have not seen the DVD yet. I'm meaning to, but I did attend one of the shows. And did you happen to see any of the Vegas shows live while they were there?
No, but you know what? What's cool is before the DVD got released, I got a chance when they were playing it in the theaters, and the only disappointment I have about the DVD is when I saw it on the big screen. It was really cool to go to the theater and see it on the big screen, and they also did this like little interview segment, but for some reason they left that off the DVD. But it was cool to see it on the big screen, I thought.
Oh wow, yeah. I haven't seen the DVD yet, but I did see the live show there, and dude, it was just wild. Well, I'm sure. I mean, just lasers, and they just went.
Wow.
They just almost, blew the roof off the Hard Rock over there. I mean, it was wild. And in fact, when I was there, I was also playing with Sin City Kiss at Circus. We had a residency there by Vince Neil.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and we had a residency there for a few months doing that with Sin City Kiss, and we played there New Year's Eve 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've done quite a bit of Kiss in Las Vegas, and thanks to the guys at Sin City Kiss, I've also played with them at 2 of the pre-parties for the Kiss cruise out of Miami. We've done that the last.
So
year, but that's been great too.
So you're one of the guys on the tribute scene that seems to have a lot of gigs, and that's a great thing. I was curious, because originally Priss started out as an all-female Kiss tribute, and I was kind of curious how you hooked up with them, and I wanted to ask, is the other drummer Judy, does she still play with them from time to time?
Well, yeah, I've been filling in when Judy was out in Arizona. So
okay.
It's always been a all-female.
Yeah.
But for some of the shows in the past that she hasn't been able to make is where I've actually the first Doll Stanley in the band, my friend Sharon Needles, her stage name, that she was originally in the band Betty Blowtorch, and she's like doing an AC/DC tribute band. Anyway, she was the first Doll Stanley and Priss, and she was the one that initially asked me to fill in for Judy one time.
Wow.
And dude, check this out. I just gotten off the phone with Judy after she danced me, and I was thinking, okay, well, what drum set can I use? I really don't have anything that's Kiss appropriate.
Yeah.
I went on eBay, and I'm looking up Pearl drums, which if you're a diehard Kiss fan,
Yeah.
in the 70s, he's playing Pearl drums. So I went on to look Pearl drum set 70s. Check this out. There's this guy. He was in Florida. He had a Pearl drum set for sale, chrome tom-toms, just like Peter was playing at one point, okay? It's like 4 tom-toms across the front, kick drums, so you basically have the Peter Criss drum set minus maybe a couple smaller tom-toms. It was on sale on eBay for $350,
Oh, wow.
including shipping.
Wow.
Now, dude, I just gotten on eBay. The auction was going to be done in like 2 hours, and I just got off the phone with Sharon. I put a bid on it. I won the drum set.
Wow.
And that's how I got the initial drum kit to start doing the Kiss thing.
Wow. And
crazy, right?
Yeah. So when you get the drum set, I got to ask, how long did it take you to get it customized for what you need for a Kiss show?
Well, that was ready to go.
Wow.
It was all ready to go.
Wow.
The only thing I needed to get for that one, because it was a 70s. Fiberglass channel, the whole thing, just like Peter played at some point.
Yeah.
That one was ready to go. I just had to acquire the Kiss drum head, which I was able to do online.
Wow.
Here's the other drum set I got to tell you about, and your listeners out there. A couple years ago, I was at the NAMM show. NAMM is the National Association of Music Merchants show. Big music convention they have in Anaheim every year, and all the music companies, the musical instrument companies, they get together and they have a big convention. And a lot of musicians are there, a lot of rock stars there, and they had every person in just about every famous band, all the guys in Kiss there, I've been there.
Wow.
Now, one of the latest Kiss tours, Eric has been playing a clear Pearl drum set that lights up. It's got lights.
Yeah.
The drum kit that turns colors and so on and so forth. So I went up to the Pearl drum kit, and they had one of 2 of the drum sets that they made for Eric Singer there. He's obviously got one of them on tour with Kiss. And they had a second one there, set up, all lit up. It was actually bigger than Eric's. It was 4 bass drums, all these, just crazy. So I went and took a picture of it, and thinking, okay, this would be cool. I've got to get a drum kit like this at some point. Okay. Anyway, the drum kit somehow ended up in the hands of a private dealer. Pearl Drums had, I'm assuming this part, but they had sold the drum kit to a private dealer.
Wow.
I found out, found about, and they were selling it, and I bought it.
Wow.
So I've got one of the drum kits made for Eric Singer in some of the shows. In fact, the last show I played with Priss, we played at Santa Fe Spring Swap Meet. Now, it was during the day, and I didn't have the drum set lit up. But that's the new Kiss drum set I'm playing now.
Oh, wow. How cool is that? Now, let me ask you, when you're performing with your various bands, Do you ever get the opportunity to get up there besides beating on those drums and sing any of the Peter Criss tunes?
Oh yeah, every show, every Kiss show.
And what are your favorite songs you get to perform?
So I've done Black Diamond, I've done Beth, I've done some of the more obscure ones like Getaway from Dress to Kill.
Oh, cool.
I've done Strange Ways from Hotter Than
Hell.
Hell.
I always love that tune. Strange Ways.
Yeah, great Peter Criss song.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other, anything else really super obscure.
You ever done Beth or Hard Luck Woman?
Totally having a brain fart of it. Yes, Hard Luck Woman, done that several times.
Wow. Hooligan, Hooligan was always a track I loved. I was surprised it really had a great Peter vibe too. If you listen to the word, it kind of sounds like the way he claims he grew up, in street gangs and running the streets and everything.
Super catchy song, and I remember him doing that the first time I saw the band. Well, actually, singing through Hooligan and of course Black Diamond and Bats and man, great rock and roll singing. I think he could have made it as a front man, just being a singer, if he wasn't a drummer. Yeah,
I often dare say that he's maybe a better singer than drummer. I mean, not taking anything away from his drum ability, but like I was saying earlier, that to be able to play like he played and then sing lead, that takes a certain ability,
Definitely has the whole package thing going on, which is I'm sure why Paul and she grabbed it at the time.
Yeah, and let me ask you, did you ever get a chance to hear any of his solo records he made outside of Kiss?
I haven't really kept up with a lot of his solo stuff. I remember, his first album I, of course, listened to quite a bit.
Yeah.
But, and I've heard about the last, in fact, I was listening to an interview just the other night about some of the stuff that he was doing right before the Kiss reunion. Where he had a band called Priss.
Yeah, and I've seen them actually play out a couple times, and they were pretty decent, but, they didn't just... they had a record company was kind of, they didn't really get behind them, and they're kind of a crooked operation. We don't really need to get into that, but company kind of folded, quickly, and so he didn't really have huge support at the time, but it was pretty decent stuff, I thought. And the second solo album he did outside of Kiss around 1982 was called Let Me Rock You, and that had a tune on there called Tears that he co-wrote with Vinnie Vincent, who was known as Vinnie Cassano at the time, and that was before he was ever in Kiss, so it's kind of funny that they got together.
Yeah, I'm curious to sort of backtrack and start listening to that stuff because I got curious after hearing this interview. On some podcast the other day, but I'm looking forward to meeting him again at this Kiss Expo that's coming up. I believe it's in January. For anybody listening to this, it might be past tense, but I believe it's January of 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I don't have the exact date in front of me, but I'm going to try to see if I can make that because it seems like a pretty cool event. I attended one of these Kiss Expos years ago that they had somewhere like in Burbank, California, and Bob Kulick was like the special guest, and it's like, man, I had the opportunity to meet him, and what a cool guy.
I'm sorry, the phone broke up a little bit. Which one? You met Peter?
No, Bob Kulick.
Oh, Bob Kulick. Oh, dude, he is super cool. I played a show, not on stage with him, but it was in Miami with Sin City Kiss, and Bob sat in with Priss at the time.
Wow.
And I've met him a couple times, and we follow each other on Instagram. Super great guy, and another great guitar player who, as you know, played, on Kiss Alive 2 on some of the studio tracks, and almost ended up in the band itself.
Yeah, he's been joked as a Kiss the fifth Kiss member, and I heard him recently do an interview with Eddie Trunk where a lot of his stuff that he played on, it wasn't known that he played on until just a couple years ago, and he was telling Eddie, he goes, well, I didn't really have a problem with it, not just because I was a session guy, but I was helping out my friends, and besides playing on these Kiss albums, he's also played with Meatloaf and Alice Cooper, Diana Ross, and he even won a Grammy for one of these tribute CDs that he put out for a Motorhead song or something. So, look at the success that guy's had, and what a laid-back cat that, you would help out your friends without, expecting to get paid, and he really kept quiet about it all these years.
That's the sign of a true gentleman and a true friend of the band.
And then, yeah.
A class act
and from what I understand,
he... May I also add...
Yeah, from what I understand, he even, before, after all this stuff had kind of come out, he was doing an interview or something where I read years ago, and he wanted to ask Gene's permission, like, hey, Gene, I'm going on this interview, this stuff has come out, is it all right if I talk about it? And I guess it was, common knowledge by that time. Gene said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, he certainly deserves the credit for, and also for, really sort of pulling off an Ace Frehley-like style on those tunes, because I for years just assumed it was Ace.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing, getting back to Destroyer. On a couple of the tracks, Beth, actually, and I think it was Sweet Pain, Bob Ezrin, who we said had worked with Alice Cooper on all of his classic Alice Cooper albums at the time, he brought in this guy, Dick Wagner, that was playing guitar at the time for Alice Cooper, and
right.
And it's kind of interesting that wasn't known back at the time, of course. And years later, when Kiss teamed up again with Bob Ezrin around 1991, and they went in and recorded Revenge, Ezrin was brought back. And if you put Revenge up to Destroyer, it's almost like Destroyer Part 2. It sounds a lot like that classic stuff.
That album, yeah, Revenge is, in my opinion, it's definitely my favorite non-makeup Kiss album. And, of course, Bob Ezrin, back in the fold there, and Bruce Kulick just doing some amazing guitar stuff on that, songs, and what a classic, bombastic, huge record that was. Yeah, that was. It's like, wow, they're back,
And then
they ever left.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. But it was like back in a really powerful way.
And people forget that Bob Ezrin, besides those great Alice Cooper albums he also worked on, he also produced another great classic album, The Wall, by Pink Floyd. So, I mean,
right.
this guy just... and Pink Floyd, very much like Destroyer, I guess, what really made these albums so unique were, like you're saying, the little... not just the music and the writing, but the little sound effects. I mean, you take little things that he did throughout The Wall, or even like the news report you're saying at the top of Detroit Rock City. It really made these songs, really stand out. Even you look at a song like Great Expectations off of Destroyer. He brought in like a child's choir, and they did the backup. That's something that was not done back in the day.
No, Bob Ezrin was, and still is, just an amazing musical genius. Songwriter, and really, even before I was into Kiss, I was a major Alice Cooper fan.
Yeah.
And had his albums, and he just had this way of, throwing in those little soundscapes that really just took you into another world and added to the whole experience of listening to an album. Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah.
Right.
And
love all that stuff.
Yeah, and it just boggles the mind. But I often wondered why, when they had such huge success on those two albums, why they didn't do more work with Ezrin. But you just look at those two albums; they both have stood the test of time to my ears, and it's kind of amazing. I often think of, like I said, Revenge as, Destroyer Part 2.
Oh yeah, that's a good analogy. I would agree with that, definitely.
And it's kind of interesting. Even before the album was released, I remember when they released God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Right.
2, and I thought, man, if the rest of the album sounds anything like that, this is going to be a great, great album.
Yep, and so it was, and absolutely magical to be able to sing that God Gave Rock and Roll stuff the other night. I know this is kind of where the interview began, but yes, for me to be able to sing that stuff with Bruce on stage was just absolutely magical. And Bruce, if you're listening, dude, thank you, because I didn't expect that, and what a wonderful surprise it was.
Yeah, and we're going to get ready to wrap this up, Raleigh, but before I let you go, I wanted to ask you, in regards to the Kiss Jam Night, because I know they have a lot of the same musicians go down there every week and perform. Do you plan on taking part in any more of those?
Dude, I had such a blast doing it. I will absolutely, I'd love to do it again. I'm not sure exactly which night or what circumstance it will be, but I actually made some other friends that
That's
do
great.
it fairly often. So yes, I would absolutely love to do it.
And yeah.
Keep you posted if I do.
And then the very last thing I want to ask you before I let you go is, speaking of your bandmate Jim Perro, I also know, and a mutual friend we have, Rocco, that you had a band called Kiss Co-Ed. Is that project still in existence?
I'm sorry, which band now?
Kiss Co-Ed? Kiss Co-Ed?
Oh, Co-Ed Kiss.
Yeah, Co-Ed Kiss.
Co-Ed Kiss. Co-Ed Kiss actually started with myself and Jennifer Perot from Priss.
Yeah.
Moa Hendrickson from Priss and Rocco. And we sort of designed the band, Jennifer and Moa and I were all here in Southern California.
Yeah.
And we sort of, we thought, well, gosh, we've got some great Kiss players, both male and female here. Let's get together a band that can do some shows if by chance some other members of the band who live out of town can't make a show. So, and the last show we did, Rocco couldn't make it, so it was pretty much like a Priss show with me. It was Co-Ed Kiss, but it was Andrea Zermino from Priss and the other two girls and myself. We played the show out in El Paso. So we kind of designed the band to not necessarily all have the same members all the time.
Yeah.
So it might be Rocco, it might be Jennifer, it might be my friend Larry Hampton, who plays in The Who and El Choppy.
Yeah.
He might be Ace one time. It might not even necessarily be me on drums. So we just decided to sort of make it an open band. So I think you will be seeing it in the future at some point, but it's going to be a surprise. It might be the original four. It could be someone else.
Wow,
that's how we designed it.
That's cool, because I seen that a couple months back you guys had put some tracks up on the Facebook page that you had recorded.
Yes.
There's a great version of Shout It Out Loud. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of that in the new year.
Yeah, if anybody wants to listen, if you don't mind me doing a little plug.
No.
SoundCloud, look up Co-Ed Kiss. Co-Ed starts with a K. Co-Ed Kiss. Also on SoundCloud and Facebook, Cheap Tricked. That's my new Cheap Trick band, Cheap Tricked. And also on Facebook, my Who band is The Who Generation. We were just on Access TV on a show called The World's Greatest Tribute Bands. There's video from the show up there, and also, look up The Who Generation on Facebook, and we also have a website for Who Gen, G-E-N, short for generation, thewhogen.com.
And now let me ask you, since you brought that Access TV show up, because The Who Generation, that was actually your guys' second appearance on that show, but the first time around you were going by the name of The Who Review, is that correct?
Different band.
Oh, okay.
Different band with a different singer.
Oh, okay.
Different band, so this is pretty much a whole new thing we have going on now.
And then,
Yeah.
I really urge people to go on your Facebook page and check out all those bands, because I gotta say, besides your being a great singer and phenomenal drummer, that if you look like, it just amazes me that how much you got Peter Criss down, and then you go and you look at the Who generation. Man, if I didn't know any better, I'd swear that was Keith Moon in the flesh. The same thing with the Cheap Trick band, and then I also seen you play with Kenny Metcalf, who does a great Elton John. You guys all look so authentic, and it just amazes me. Stop for a minute about what a great drummer you are and a great singer, but like I said, the fact that you got these guys look down so good, it really amazes me. I don't think a lot of times guys like you would play in the tribute bands, they don't get the respect you guys deserve, because it's much more than just get up there and playing somebody else's music. I mean, you got to look the part, you got to sound the part, and like I said, when I seen you in any of these bands performing, I'm convinced that I was watching Keith Moon, or I was convinced that I was watching Peter Criss. And talking a little bit about Peter Criss before I let you go, do you remember how long it took you to perfect the makeup? I mean, how long did it take you, like the very first time you put that makeup on?
Oh man, well, the first time I had recently, my girlfriend at the time did it for me, and then I sort of took over, and I got some great makeup tips from my friends Lewis and Steve from Sin City Kids, as far as powdering the makeup after you have it on so it doesn't run.
Yeah.
So it's been a process learning it, but it still takes me about 2.5 hours to do. The cat man, I think, at least for me, is the most difficult to do, because because
Yeah.
it's 5 different colors.
Wow.
It all has to be symmetrical. All the lines have to be straight. You have to sort of powder it all. Then once you after you powder it, you have to mix up silver and do the chrome nose and the whole thing. So it definitely takes me a little while to do. But once I have it on, I don't want to take it off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's fun seeing people's reactions. So I try to make a point, like even after a gig, of like walking into like a Denny's or some late night restaurant, where people aren't even expecting to see, somebody in Kiss makeup walk in, just to see their faces. I get quite a kick out of doing it.
Now, I was curious, have you ever been in the experience of, showing up randomly at a place like that, and
Oh, yeah.
people really think you're the guy, and you guys are like, no, I just play in a tribute band. Do you ever have people really thinking you're the guy?
I haven't had people thinking I'm the guy, but I'll tell you, especially like on a Halloween, and I've dressed as Gene Simmons before too. It's what ends up happening, Jason, is I'll end up being having to take pictures with everybody, which I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
But I remember I was on Balboa Island one time, handing out Halloween candy with my girlfriend at the time, and must have taken at least 5, and I'm not exaggerating, 500 pictures.
Oh, I believe you.
Kiss makeup.
I believe you. And I'll tell you, why. Last time when I saw Kiss in concert was the Kiss Def Leppard tour, and just waiting in the line to get into the Irvine Meadows there. There's this guy out in the parking lot dressed as Gene Simmons. He just showed up like that way, and everybody just gravitated, wanted their picture taken with this guy, and he was taking tons of pictures, like you're saying, and he wasn't even the real Gene Simmons. He wasn't even he was just a Kiss fan dressed up like Gene Simmons. But yet, I see what you're saying. Everybody gravitated to this guy, and he just loved it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it too. It's so fun.
And it's kind of interesting the Peter makeup. When you go back to the debut album and you look what his design was on that album to what it is today. It's kind of. I even like to look at Paul's Bandit makeup because look at what that became.
Well, yeah, and I know for the first album, Peter actually had a makeup artist do it, so that's why it looks a little bit more different and more intricate with the multiple whiskers, and it looks very different. He's sort of simplified it now, so I think it shows that better from a distance now with just the 2 whiskers, which is probably why I ended up doing that design. But yeah, it is interesting to go see, the old pictures and see how it evolved,
Yeah,
I love that.
the evolution of Kiss, as they say. And, really, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I want to thank you for being part of our Destroyer 40 special. Just to let you know, this is interview number 26. And we've been rolling these interviews out kind of as we do them in the order we do them. So your interview probably be going up sometime maybe around February, March. But be on the lookout for it. I really enjoyed talking to you. We'll have to do it again. But you take care of yourself, my friend. And just once again, you people out there, you've been listening to Destroyer 40. And we've been talking to drummer extraordinaire Raleigh Devore. So thanks so much, my friend. And you take care.
Thanks, Chase. We'll talk to you soon. And thanks for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye, my friend. Take care.
All right, take care.